Alright, so this weekend I decided to paint my wall green in order to have a background available to me at all times that I really liked. Previously I had two stands with a seamless paper or cloth backdrop that were taking a good amount of space, and I'll show you later exactly what I mean by that. But I wanted to have something available at all times, and also want to have a little bit more space in my living room as I'm in a tight space. If you want to take a look at my overall setup and how I've changed it over the years, take a look at this video right here. But overall, this was a very quick process. All I did is watch a couple YouTube videos and then just went to Home Depot to grab the stuff. It was, I believe, cost me about 50 bucks, actually 70 because I fucked up. But you could probably do it for 50. And I just painted the corner of my living room, and it's awesome. It looks really sick. So check this out. And this is the photo I was able to get just right after I painted my living room. Enjoy. Here's how my living room looks without the backdrop and stands. It's a lot more space because they usually take a good meter of space, and usually when you put in seamless, you don't use the crease part. Obviously you don't want to rip it, so you lose even more space. So I'm thinking of painting this side. So instead of using the backdrop, or I'm still going to be using the backdrop for certain cases, but I want to paint this corner to be either matte green or matte navy blue, so I can use that for majority of my shoots, which I think will go pretty well with the fake wood on the floor, and then I'll just paint over this. Looks pretty good because I don't think it's going to take too much work, but I've never painted anything before, so we'll find out. Alright, so here's what I got at Home Depot for about 50 bucks Canadian, so that's pretty solid. Got this roller, a couple of these thingies, and it has a brush too, so I'm gonna use brush for the just for the edges, and then the rest is gonna use the roller. That should be good. Two paints. One's gonna be the base, the main coat, and this one is Truly Olive. And then I took a small can of this one, this is 1 liter and this is 200 ml. And this is a darker green, a different shade. And this one is Outdoor Oasis. And that's what I'm gonna try to do here is I'm gonna paint the Truly Olive one and then use the sponge with the darker green to add a little bit more texture to the wall. So, and then painter's tape and a tarp. So overall, 50 bucks, very solid price point. I believe this 1 liter should be enough when I did the math on if I want to paint both of the walls and this little corner even that I don't really need, but if I want to paint both of these, that was about 9 square meters, and this little can I believe is a 10 or more, is 10 or more of a single layer or whatever it is. But so that should be good. And worst case scenario, if like I don't need to paint all the way to over there, so I can make it less, and I don't need to paint that one. Alternative, I can go and buy another small one again. This one was 5 bucks and this one was I think 20 or something. All right, so that is it. I'll let you know in the progress. So obviously first I have to just get rid of anything that was in the way and clean out the trimmings on the bottom because there's a lot of dust and whatnot, and obviously we don't want that on paint. For me, I know this trimmings currently right now are a different color, but I did want it to be exactly the same, or maybe very slightly different, from maybe instead of olive, darker green or even black, but not white, that's for sure. So all I'm really doing here is kind of failing to put the tarp down properly, but that's okay. You know, I should have just taped it to the floor, to the bottom of the trimmings. Well, I didn't, and I was kind of moving around, and a little bit of paint did drop, but it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm using that little brush to just get the edges and kind of
isolate the ceiling from the wall so I don't mess up the ceiling. And that's pretty straightforward. Overall, I've never painted before, but this was pretty straightforward process. I'm pretty sure I screwed up when I was painting. Like, I think I used a little bit more paint where I didn't need to, and less where I don't know. I think it messed up, and the amount of paint I had was just barely enough to cover those two walls with a single layer of coat, with a single coat. So that was pretty close, especially considering that I wanted to do the little side square on the side as well, and the fact that I think whenever I was doing just a single layer, or maybe I didn't use enough paint, that wall was, you can still see a little bit of the original beige coming through it. Again, it's not that big of a deal, and overall I was going for a messy canvas look where I wasn't too afraid to mess up, because if there's a little bit more texture, a little bit more paint, it's a little bit uneven, that's a benefit to me. So I wasn't too worried about kind of unevenness of the paint and whatnot, and I'm pretty happy how it turned out. But right now I'm just doing the trimmings on the bottom the same color, and I do like how it looks. And at this point I'm pretty much out of paint. I have just a little bit left in the bottom of the tiny barrel. So here's when I tried to kind of cut the sponge and add the second color on top of the Truly Olive, so I can add a little bit more texture. But it's off the bat, as I was doing it, I realized I didn't exactly like how it's turning out. Partially, I think, because the sponge was too the shape of the sponge was too even, and it wasn't applying the texture that I wanted. So maybe if I used a different sponge or did it with a different method, it would have worked better. But anyway, the sponge didn't quite work out how I wanted to be, and I did not like the color as well that I was using, this darker green color. So I ended up going to Home Depot, buying another liter of Truly Olive, and just painting that corner, painting a little bit more on the main wall, and then also touching up whatever didn't have enough paint. So ended up going there. It cost me extra, 20 minutes, an extra $20, but I was pretty happy with it. And this is how my space looks right now. Let me go to the edge of the room and check this out. So now that I've painted the wall, I think this looks sick. It works from a couple of different angles, whether I want to use just that side of the wall or the corner to add a little bit more of interest in the background, or even if I want to, maybe there's not too much space coming this way, but maybe if I want to use just even half green, half white portion, I think I'm pretty happy with this. And this chair can be moved out of the way, of course, but this saves me a lot of space. Previously, where I had a couple of stands, so I had this stand and another stand over there, and then Seamless just starting probably around this area. So this saves me a good amount of space, and overall I'm very happy how it looks like.